Happy new month. Good evening and thank you for joining us on News 360. It is live from Adisawi Kanda here in Accra. I am Ayisha Yakubu.
And I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Let's bring you the headlines for this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Embattled former board chairman of the Ghana Airports Company Limited, Paul Adom-Otchere, finally released from custody after meeting a revised bail condition set by the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
The family of a Kimbu Senior High School Form 1 student allegedly stabbed by a colleague demand justice. Meanwhile, NAT urges creation of more reform centers to tackle student indiscipline.
Also tonight, National Security Coordinator urges traditional leaders to prioritize dialogue over violence in resolving the protracted Boko conflict and other chieftaincy-related disputes.
Later in business, recent report by Fair Trade Ghana Network reveals almost 90% of farmers experiencing yield declines due to illegal mining.
And on the foreign front, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says his country will use week-long delay in the US's imposition of 30% tariffs to negotiate hard to avoid the penalty and save jobs.
We are live around the world on 3news.com. We always love to hear from you, so do keep your comments coming in.
Former board chairman of the Ghana Airports Company Limited, Paul Adom-Otchere, has been released from custody. This was after the Office of the Special Prosecutor revised his bail conditions. The updated bail terms secured by the Jospon Group of companies acting as surety. Despite the bail agreement, the case remains under active investigations by the OSP with no final determination made at this time. The TV show host was detained overnight after his arrest in connection with ongoing investigation into a suspected corruption-related offense stemming from a revenue assurance contract. Though Adom-Otchere was granted bail, he could not meet the bail terms. 2 landed properties of any value in his name.
So Paul Adom-Otchere clearly is currently under investigation because he is or was the board chair of the Ghana Airport Company Limited. And that particular company, the Airport Company Limited, has terminated the controversial revenue assurance contract with Evertex Logistics Limited. The termination follows months of public scrutiny and ongoing investigations by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The managing director of the Ghana Airport Company Limited, Yvonne Nana Efriye-Opare, officially communicated the termination in a letter dated July 28, 2025, addressed to Evertex Logistics. According to the letter, the contract, which was executed on December 4, 2024, will cease to be in effect from August 27, 2025. And it also goes on to say that it also is because they have not been able to discover or recover any specific concealment as regards the operations they were expected to be providing. We'll try and get some further thoughts and perspective on this particular termination of contract and how it probably could influence or impact the current investigation by the OSP.
The OSP had indicated that they were unable to release him in their offices. No explanation was proffered, and so they requested that Mr. Adom-Otchere's lawyers indicate where they want him to be released. And so the former Attorney General, Honorable Godfrey Adami, who was present, indicated that he has no objection to Mr. Adom-Otchere being released at his offices, Dami and Partners, at cantonment. But on their way to the office, they were recalled back to the office of the OSP and informed of some administrative issues that had been sorted out. No specific issues were pointed out. But eventually, everything was done, and he was taken to the former Attorney General's office, and that was where he was released in cantonment. You will recall that we had maintained that the requirement for him to produce landed properties in his name was unreasonable, and him making bail cannot be linked to property possession, so that if he does not own property, he should be able to go on bail. And so today when we went to the OSP, there were conversations, and as I had indicated in the morning, the OSP varied his position now to require that he produces one surety with any property value. And pursuant to that, we had engaged the OSP whether that surety, given that Mr. Adom-Otchere works with Metro TV, can be a corporate guarantee, and that was accepted. And so one surety was provided, and that was the Jospond group of companies, and then a property owned by one of the subsidiaries of the Jospond group of companies was offered to the OSP in satisfaction of the requirements of property. So it will mean that the OSP waived false personal possession requirements and also waived the requirements of a public servant, one of whom must not be less than a principal.
And so that is one of the lawyers for Paul Adom-Otchere, Nicholas Lenin Annan J, who gave perspectives on how things played out following the detention of Paul Adom-Otchere last night and his subsequent release on bail after they were able to meet the conditions. So let's now speak to the co-chair for Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Mr. Edem Senan, who has joined us via phone. Mr. Senan, good evening and thank you for your time.
Good evening.
We are told that the Ghana Airport Company has terminated one of the contracts that we are told that is part of the investigations currently being undertaken. What are your initial thoughts on this, and could it in any way influence the current investigations undertaken by the OSP?
Well, my thoughts would be that clearly over the period there have been many people concerned that these contracts were not providing value for money. And so the continued sustenance of those contracts was just creating a greater loss to the state. And so wherever these contracts have been, there's been that pressure that whoever is in charge there should just discontinue the contract so that we don't still give money out for apparently no work done. And so I think that it is in order for the current chief executive to have, abrogated the contract. As to whether it will influence the investigation, I don't think so. I think that so much money has already been paid. And at the moment, we don't see that really any kinds of assurance services. There were no identification of losses that they were bringing in. I don't see how it should affect the investigation. I think what is substantive is that they were to look at the period from when the contract was initiated to when it was abrogated and establish if these so-called assurance contracts actually give us any value. And if there's nothing to show that something substantive was done, then perhaps we should be retrieving the money paid.
And given that the OSP's ongoing investigation, how important is transparency in this particular issue? I mean, especially those involved in public funds. We're told that the award of some of these contracts were done on the blind side of, the many people who are interested in it. Should that also be an issue of concern?
Well, I believe that when the OSP's investigation will look at all the nuances, including the administrative processes that were followed, if they, as it were, failed to properly do due diligence or to follow a particular protocol which is required in terms of whether internal audit should sign off, legal should sign off, Ministry of Finance should sign off, all those things would be brought to bear, I'm sure, in the investigation. And so we'll know if there was some gap, a substantive gap that was not followed, some substantive step that was not followed. including if it was done on the blind side of key officials who ought to have been part of it by law.
All right, Mr. Senanu, thank you for your time and thoughts on this subject. He is a co-chair for the Citizens Movement Against Corruption.
Meanwhile, the special prosecutor has rejected claims of using bail conditions to punish suspects of corruption-related offences. Kisi Ejabeng, in his defence, justified how the office has never opposed a bail of any suspect charged to court. George Queening reports.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor has come under intense criticism over the execution of its mandate. But Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejabeng is calling for certain amendments to the law that establish the office in order to strengthen Ghana's fight against corruption. During a visit by the Parliamentary Select Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs, he bemoaned the office's financial constraints, which is said are negatively affecting its operations.
We won't receive any private sector help. If we do that, we have sold the office out. And then when it comes to foreign aid too, you have to be very careful in terms of what you are receiving and what you won't receive. I have said it plain, and the Director of Finance said, we won't receive cash from anyone.
Kisi Ejabeng also responded to claims of using bail conditions to punish suspects.
Our bail structure is this. Depending on the nature of the case and depending on who you are, we will tie your bail to you, post your bail, and go. So we will ask for landed property belonging to you. So you are in effect posting your own bail and going. We are in a much better state now than we were before I took this position 4 years ago. Now people know that there's accountability. Now the name OSP sends shivers down spines.
Chairman of the committee, Shaibu Bahama, explained that processes to amend the law and make the OSP more viable would be expedited. The committee also visited the Copyright Office as part of its oversight responsibilities. The issue of funding was a major concern in ensuring the office fulfills its mandate. At the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, it was revealed that there are no established conditions of service, a concern raised by Acting Executive Director Raymond Archer.
We have almost every luxury car you can think about in our yard. They are parked in the sun, and it's almost a nightmare. God forbid if one explosive happens in our yard, everybody will be dead because all of those cars are full.
Budgetary allocations were described as woefully inadequate, making it virtually impossible for EOCO to operate at full capacity.
Recoveries from January to June from EOCO is 110 million Ghana cedis. Yet we are one of the most underfunded security agencies among our peers. And to be honest, when I see my colleagues, sometimes I feel pretty sad.
Let's go on to one of our headline stories we have for you this evening, and it has to do with education-related subjects. Now, the family of a Form 1 student of the Kimbu Senior High Technical School who allegedly died after he was stabbed by a colleague is calling for the swift arrest of the accused person. Judith Brown visited the school and has come through with his report.
Well, it's been 2 days since the tragic death of Adib Al-Hassan, a Form 1 student of the Kimbu Senior High Technical School who tragically died after he was allegedly stabbed by a colleague during an altercation. Well, 2 days after, the family is now at the school asking for answers to the tragic killing of their son, and according to them, the school has not been forthcoming and an arrest has still not been made.
On Wednesday, we were there when the mother called us to inform that she got a call from the school that our son has been stabbed. So we rushed to the hospital. We were told when the incident happened, the schoolmate took the boy to the Adabraka polyclinic. But when they see the thing is beyond them, they transfer the boy to Rich. We went to Rich, but upon our internal investigation, we were told they were having a little misunderstanding, and one of them stabbed our son. They left him to bleed. So he bled profusely. Later in the night, 2 a.m., they called us that the condition is serious, so we should try and bring the blood. So we went to Kolebu Blood Bank in the night. So at the end, we were able to bring the blood, but unfortunately, we lost the boy.
The family have also accused the school of protecting its image at the expense of justice.
We didn't see the action of the school. We expect the school to take some internal investigation to aid the police.
In as much as it's not the school that asked the guy to go and commit the murder, the school is trying to protect its image. So whatever information that should be accurate here, they should help. They shouldn't hide anything. Once you hide, then it means it will be very, very difficult for the police to get the needed information. So we plead with them to be as fair and as neutral as ever.
They're calling for swift actions by the police service.
You want this thing for the boy to be punished, to serve as a lesson to the other students who engage in this act. Because now, even last week, we heard about killing of 2 students in the north. So this thing have to stop. So we are calling for justice. We are Muslim. You know how we speed up in burying our deceased person. But this time we told police we will hold on. We went to see the finality of the case. So we are calling for justice.
Authorities, by the time of a visit, were at the school to encourage students and have since promised to intervene. The school has since declined speaking on the matter. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
Also, the Ghana National Association of Teachers (NAT) is calling for the establishment of more reform centers to address rising indiscipline among students. The association wants that growing acts of violence, such as students brandishing knives and attacking their peers, pose a serious threat to the country's educational system if left unchecked. NAS General Secretary Thomas Musa Tanko made the call in response to a recent surge in student violence reported in parts of Accra.
We are not in good times, and the kind of things that the children are dealing with is not easy. In the olden days, your mother will ask you, who is your friend? Today, the friend is in the house through the mobile phone. When you were young, there was no phone. So when Kofi is coming, your mother will ask you, who is this man? But today, the enemy is in the house. When you, the mother, you go out, the child will go and pick your phone. The enemy is already in the house through the internet and all that. So we cannot use the trainings or the training given in the past, do the same thing today. I need to commend the sector minister, okay, for saying that the teachers should discipline. You see, but let us document it, because some examples must be set. When we were young, we have what we call Akoraboni. You will be sent there. They teach you something small, and they help you to reform, and then you come back. But today, it doesn't exist. Go there and go and see what has happened to that particular place. And so, the children who are deviant in society, we don't have any place where we can correct them. We don't have those correctional institutions.
On to some other stories tonight to exhibit, acts of good diplomacy. The government of Ghana has donated 40 metric tons of premium cocoa products to the people of Palestine as a gesture of solidarity and humanitarian support amid the ongoing crisis in Gaza. President John Dramani Mahama, who handed over the items, described the donation as both symbolic and practical, reflecting Ghana's long-standing friendship with Palestine.
The donation, comprising Golden Tree branded chocolate and other cocoa-based products, were presented to the Palestinian ambassador to Ghana, Abdul Fattah Ahmed Khalil al-Satari, at a ceremony held at the Jubilee House. The president highlighted the deep historical ties between Ghana and the state of Palestine, recalling the establishment of the Palestinian Liberation Organization's office in Ghana in 1986.
We also call on the Israeli authorities to open the borders
so that humanitarian aid can flow into Gaza.
The president reiterated Ghana's support for a two-state solution, urging all parties to embrace dialogue.
We remain firm in our support for a negotiated two-state solution to the Palestinian question. This is in line with international law and relevant United Nations resolutions, one that guarantees the inalienable rights of both Palestinians and Israelis to coexist peacefully side by side within secure and recognized borders.
Receiving the items, Ambassador Ayisha expressed gratitude, stating that the gesture reaffirmed the strong bond between both countries.
My people, our children, our women in Gaza and the West Bank, they cannot forget the support. And all of us cannot imagine if our children, after close to 2 years now, did not have food, did not have water, don't have light, don't have medicine. If this chocolate arrived to Gaza, it will arrive. And our children only see the chocolate. You cannot imagine how much they will be happy. And you cannot imagine how much they will be more than happy when they eat it.
The donation was facilitated by the Ghana Cocoa Board and the Cocoa Processing Company with support from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration.
And now, the National Security Coordinator, Abdul Razak Usman, has urged traditional leaders to prioritize dialogue over violence in resolving the protracted Boku conflict and other chieftaincy-related disputes. Speaking at a meeting with the National House of Chiefs in Kumasi, he expressed deep concern over the rising number of chieftaincy and ethnic conflicts across the country.
Land and ethnic disputes. No. The numbers are staggering and heartbreaking. Reported cases are well over 503 chieftaincy, ethnic and land-related disputes nationwide, with 130 of them posing existential threat to community security and, for that matter, national security, not forgetting the weight they put on the public purse. Chieftaincy and land disputes have claimed nationwide considerable lives. Many others have also been made. These are not just statistics we're mentioning. They are fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters, and most of all, your subjects whose dreams have been cut short.
Let's go to Parliament now. The House has adjourned indefinitely for recess after 43 intense sittings spanning 10 weeks. Leaders of the House have pleaded with members to prioritize their health and use the period to complete other parliamentary businesses. Christian Yali has a wrap.
The second meeting of the first session of the 9th Parliament started on 27th May 2025. It has been an intense 10-week period of busy work spanning some 43 sittings in the period under review. The Minority Leader Alexander Afenyomarkin, in his closing remarks, paid glowing tribute to the late MP for Adom-Otchere, Ernest Yakubu.
Today, we see EOCO granting bail with onerous conditions. Suspects are being demanded to provide valid title documents. As a country, if we don't find space to end bitterness and revenge, it will continue. I am a member of the ECOWAS Parliament, duly sworn in with a fixed mandate of 4 years. I am also a Deputy Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament. Mr. Speaker has swiftly responded to the memo from the Deputy Minority Leader, all aimed at resolving this matter.
The Majority Leader, Mahama Yariga, lamented the continuous absenteeism and lateness to the chamber exhibited by some members of Parliament and called for a change.
This House should not be used to intimidate investigative agencies, and EOCO was established by a law enacted by this Parliament or previous Parliament so that they can carry out a specific mandate. Indeed, the Office of Special Prosecutor was established by the new Patriotic Party government, and the law was enacted. The Special Prosecutor was appointed by the government of the new patriotic party. Absenteeism and lateness to the chamber by some members continue to be a plaguing issue affecting the smooth conduct of business by this August House. We must be cognizant of the fact that we are assigned a responsibility to ensure that the country's parliamentary democracy is held to high standards.
Closing remarks by the Speaker of Parliament were read by the First Deputy Speaker. He urged members of Parliament to prioritize their health and ensure that they are well rejuvenated before they resume work.
We were profoundly saddened by the untimely passing of our colleague, Honorable Yakubu, the Member of Parliament for Equatia, who passed away on 7th July 2025 at the youthful age of 40. His demise, attributed to heart failure, is a painful reminder of the demanding nature of our calling. As a house, we must begin earnest discussion on comprehensive healthcare support program tailored to the unique pressure of our parliamentary work.
The House could not adopt the report by the committee that investigated the chaos that erupted during the vetting somewhere in January this year. Although it featured several times on the audit paper, including the very final day of sitting, the House could not consider that report, one that some members of Parliament raised concerns about. Christian Yale, TV3 News, Parliament.
I hereby proceed to adjourn the House sine die.
In more news this evening, the Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations has issued an ultimatum to multi-choice Ghana operators of DSTV, warning that the broadcaster's license will be suspended in 6 days if it fails to reduce its subscription prices in Ghana in line with regulatory expectations. Speaking at the Government Accountability Series, Adom-Otchere George says he has formally notified the National Communications Authority, instructing it to initiate a suspension process if DSTV continues to disregard calls to revise its pricing.
In the wake of the best performance of the cedi worldwide as the best currency and its current stability against the US dollar, the minister explained that the move followed the company's rejection of a formal request by the Ministry for price reduction.
On the 21st of July this year, I received a 9-page letter from MultiChoice detailing why they were refusing to reduce their pricing. Their reasons included that the cedi had depreciated in the preceding 8 years by 240%. And they claimed that my request for a reduction on the basis of the appreciation of the cedi was unfounded because, in their words, the appreciation of the Ghanaian cedi over the last 6 months has been a fluke which could not be sustainable.
He then gave marching orders.
As minister, my fidelity is to the Ghanaian people. I have had to act in the interest of the Ghanaian people, and I believe that the Ghanaian people have been fleeced and exploited for too long. I wrote back to the NCA on Monday and directed the NCA in that letter to suspend the broadcasting license of DSTV effective 7th of August 2025 if they fail to effect a reduction in their bundle prices.
Government, under the leadership of the former Communications Minister Esla Owusu-Ekufo, launched the 5G network after the spectrum was issued, promising an automatic switch from December 1, 2024. 8 months down the line, it is unclear whether the network exists in Ghana.
Let's just say that it was smoke screens and voicemail. There was actually no fact. I mean, even that day at that center where they launched the 5G, there was no 5G network, and there is no 5G anywhere. NGIC has received all the necessary approvals. In fact, last 2 weeks, I gave the final connecting entity license approval for MNOs. They're asking for an additional license for ISPs, which I have declined. My argument is simple. You have a license. You've had it for almost 3 years. At the very least, focus on that and roll out with MNOs.
Upon assumption of office, the government, through the Communications and Digital Innovation Ministry, has rolled out some ambitious programs such as the 1 million coders, reduction of data prices, among others. Sam George says there's no compromise on the promises made by the John Mahama-led administration.
UAE Hub, let me be clear. This is no Hope City. This is called the Innovation Hub. And this is being led under the auspices of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I give you full assurance.
Still watching News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. We have business, sports, entertainment all coming up.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital,
from the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom,
reporting from Sunyani,
from the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds, the moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News, leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Timothy. Thank you. To the details now. Hello there. Good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, about 89% of cocoa farmers report falling yields due to galamsey, and 2/3 say their incomes have been cut. That's according to a recent study by Fairtrade Ghana Network, which warns it's a serious blow to the cocoa sector and the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands. Ghana earns about $2 billion annually from cocoa, a lifeline for rural communities and a contributor of around 9.5% of GDP for the first quarter of 2024 alone. Yet illegal mining is destroying farms, polluting rivers and causing losses of up to 50% in export volumes, even as global cocoa prices rise. Despite government action, enforcement gaps and political interference have allowed galamsey to persist across most cocoa-growing regions.
From where I sit, it's an issue that is supposed to be dealt as a national issue, because we can't pride ourselves as the second topmost producing or cocoa producing country and sit down, watch our farmers who are directly involved in this cocoa production suffer from such a menace. So it is very worrisome.
According to Fairtrade Ghana Network, cocoa producing zones must be legally protected and secured through stronger enforcement of existing mining laws to restore productivity and incomes.
There should be also cooperatives who are resilient and then very strong to support their farmers to fight this menace. Because the single person cannot fight these galamsey people. So when you are in group, and you say that you are not giving any of our lands to these people, they cannot come because they cannot mine in the air.
The advocacy group says such conversations are crucial to preventing further decline in the sector.
It is important that people come together to advocate for a proper way of producing country, to protect cocoa production area so that we can continue to have this fair trade production well known in the world and so well known for its quality.
Now, an advisor to the Bank of Ghana has moved to reassure stakeholders that the planned introduction of non-interest banking and finance will not create unfair competition within the country's financial sector. Professor John Gachi noted that the central bank's initiative is aimed at broadening the financial ecosystem and diversifying funding sources. This creates the impression that it will be creating some unfair competition for the traditional banks because they are borrowing at over, as we speak at the moment, at 25%, lending onwards to consumers. But how do they stay afloat against a bank that's not even charging interest at all?
Well, I think competition is relevant and very good for the economy in general. It's very good for pricing. And it's very good for the financial sector. So I do not think any regulator will be fighting against competition. How many banks do we have? We have about 23 plus banks, and that shows that there is competition. So the more the banks, the better the competition, and the better the price discovery in the country. So competition is good for the economy. But the competition we're talking about is healthy competition.
We'll turn our attention now to the currency and the commodities market. And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for watching. Up next is sports.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Bill Ishen. Now, Le Havre has confirmed the departure of Ghana international Andre Ayew. The 35-year-old initially joined the side in November 2023 as a free agent after leaving Nottingham Forest. The former Black Stars captain helped the side to survive relegation. On 4th October 2024, the former Olympic Marseille star rejoined Le Havre after his contract had expired in the summer by signing a one-year deal. Ayew made a total of 49 appearances for the side, scoring 9 times. He has played for 9 different clubs, including FC Lorient, Swansea, and West Ham. Now a free agent, Ayew will hope to secure a move to his 10th club. Now in Ligue 1, Andre Ayew has featured for 228 times, scoring 56 goals and adding 18 assists. Moving on, in the heart of Kumasi stands a temple of dreams, the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. For decades, it has been the heartbeat of Ghanaian football. But in the last few years, the pitch has been in a dire state. As Asante Kotoko prepares for the CAF Confederation Cup, the venue for the competition remains unknown. My colleague Emmanuel Owusu tells the story on the state of the stadium.
In 2008, after major renovations, it shone brightly, earning praise across Africa. This was where legends were made, where Ghana rode on its heroes. But today, the same monument tells a different story. Since September 2024, the Confederation of African Football and FIFA have blacklisted the Baba Yara Sports Stadium from hosting international matches. Inspectors flag critical issues, an urgent pitch upgrade, safety concerns, inadequate dugout, outdated media stand, no functional CCTV, and a broken scoreboard. Years of poor maintenance, unfulfilled promises, and inconsistent upgrades have slowly strangled this national treasure. And as the infrastructure crumbled, so did the trust in those tasked with protecting it. The Director General of the National Sports Authority, Yao Ampofu Ankara, has expressed concern over the poor state of the Baba Yara Sports Stadium pitch following a working visit to the facility.
Let's all contribute and all share the responsibility, even though it's NSA's mandate. There's nothing stopping Kotoko Hearts, GFA intervening, and that is what we're going to try to do. We're going to reach out more. Maybe in the past the communication or the relationship has not been that cohesive, but it should be that we are partners.
The collapse of the Baba Yara Sports Stadium threatens more than just football. Asante Kotoko, one of Ghana's most beloved clubs, may now be forced to play away from their historic home. Safuduku, communications director of the club, has expressed disappointment over the slow pace of work at the Baba Yara Stadium.
The good thing is that the possibility of playing our matches here was not ruled out completely by the NSA Director General. What he said was that it's a bit difficult. And I also heard the experts. They also said that with hard work and resources and total commitment, it's possible that you can play the matches here. It's unfortunate that we have gotten to this stage, looking at the fact that sometimes we have to be a bit serious.
But in the midst of despair, there is talk, there are plans, and there is hope. Government, through the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Kofi Adams, has assured that renovations will begin soon. Hannah Victoria Ajuraku of KNUST, the scientist who led the team that constructed the Baba Yara pitch to international standard for CAN 2008, says the field will require at least 12 weeks of intensive work to return to its best shape.
We rush through getting the pitch ready, and then at the end of the day, we don't get the best out of it, because if you pay attention and you really want to get the pitch looking its best, we need a minimum of 12 weeks, to be frank, to make sure that the grass has really established and trampling will not destroy it.
If history has taught us anything, it is this: fallen giants can rise again. However, the clock is ticking and the inhabitants of Kumasi remain hopeful that the edifice can be restored to its glory days.
That's all for the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Bill Ishen. There's more on the bulletin after the break.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News, leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
styled. And Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, the management of Media General Limited, Ghana's leading media conglomerate, has expressed condolences to the family of the late music icon Daddy Lumba following his passing. A team led by the general manager for 3 Group, Akofa Banton, visited Daddy Lumba's private residence in East Legon, Accra, to offer their sympathies and support to the grieving family.
The delegation, comprising the General Manager for Onua Group, Stephen Shandorf, the General Manager, Shared Services, Makafui Manyo, as well as some of the station's top presenters, visited the musician's home to commiserate with the bereaved family. Joining key industry voices and fans, the group honored the incredible legacy of a man whose works have inspired many and shaped Ghana's musical landscape across generations. The General Manager for 3 Group, Akofa Banton, who signed the Book of Condolence on behalf of the group, described the singer as an extraordinary talent.
He's a likable person. I personally loved his music. One of my favorites was Sika. And so we've all listened to him, we love him, and we're really saddened that he had to go at age 60. We all lost a legend, an icon in the music industry, and so Media General, as a brand, we're here with our presenters, the whole team, and we've come to commiserate with the family. In times like this, it's difficult, and so we're here to show our support.
She reaffirmed Media General's commitment to supporting efforts to celebrate the life and works of the late high-life icon.
Tomorrow, there's a vigil that's been organized by the Creative Arts. We will beam it live on our platforms, and people should watch and let's all mourn the legend.
Media General's head of entertainment, Giovanni Caleb, eulogized the incredible talent Daddy Lumba shared with the world.
I would say my biggest regret, honestly, is my inability to have a proper sit down with Daddy Lumba to tap into how he does it. I mean, we're living in a moment of abundance technologically. People get to tap into AI, current trends to write. Even then, if you look back at his first projects, 89, how he's able to pen all this together with the limited resources we had back then, can only tell you one thing. This guy was born to do it, was a legend, in no doubt. Even in the midst of limited documentation about his works, his transcends generations. And for me, it takes just a few crop of people in the world over to achieve this, and I think Lumba has done that.
Presenters Kamini Amano Alfredo Kansi and Ohima Echampoman described Daddy Lumba as a musical genius, lauding his enduring impact and influence.
Gotten the opportunity to dance to his music and also to take some life lessons and advice from his music. I'm happy that he was a blessing to many people, including myself. And all I pray is that his soul would continue to rest in perfect peace.
He is really a music icon to the rest of us. He transcends genre. And so this is a big loss to not only to his family, more to his family, but also to us.
The family expressed gratitude for the visits.
And also some more stories. Former President Yakubu has visited the private residence of the late Ghanaian music icon Daddy Lumba to commiserate with the bereaved family.
Accompanied by the former Chief of Staff Raymond Parry, the Minority Leader in Parliament Alexander Penyo-Marking, and some MPs and former Ministers of State, the former president eulogized Daddy Lumba for his great impact on Ghana's music scene, describing him as a true cultural icon and a pillar of national pride.
Charles Kojofu so every Daddy Lumba or Kahubi pa. Na dama be about cho abako ho asama. Kwen bi ani ho a ebitumi yi free. Ti ba me ba na ma ba be mo mu sede.
Daddy Lumba's song Nana Yewina, released in 2012, is widely considered to have significantly contributed to Akufo-Addo's campaigns, including the 2012 election. The song served as a powerful anthem for the New Patriotic Party (NPP) and energized the supporters. The former president acknowledged that Daddy Lumba played a crucial role in shaping the campaign's identity, noting it resonates with Ghanaians and helped to create a sense of enthusiasm and momentum.
You know, your mommy, which me can't men see that. And I'm the son to make the boy. Now, Tiasin, the man who said, Doyle, that's what I mean. And yes, so, if you make a silver or man.
On behalf of the NPP, he pledged his commitment to support efforts to celebrate the legacy of the singer and give him a befitting farewell.
So many papa. And he said, yes, yeah, near boy, a bomb. Teach me Jan quite fair fellow. As a moose and make a hobby pa. Bia, Mrs. Abia Moyano. Bear me up as my family uncle.
He seized the opportunity to sign the book of condolence opened in honor of the late musician, whose influence on Ghana's music industry spanned decades.
And that's it for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
And that's it for our package this evening. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I'm Ayisha Yakubu. Have a lovely weekend.
Barman 442.
You dey feel am?
Na 442 liquor.